See, all right, all right. We live? We live? All right, we live. We live. We live in here. What's up, what's up, what's up? We live. Let me take this off. We live. This ain't edited. All right. So, Super Shaman, we got some things to discuss today. We got some things to discuss. So, discoveries, recent testaments, more research. All right. No, because this face right here. All right, so Super Shaman. Today is one of the grandest days. All right, so hold on. Because I know that was extremely loud. That was extremely loud. I got it. I got it. See, the recent discoveries lately, I've understood that there's a reason why this whole one world government thing how these motherfuckers tried to put it together. Christianity in the Middle Ages took control of all the libraries and only gave access to the monks and the abbots and the people of the monasteries. What are the monasteries? The monasteries are the schools, the institutions for people like monks, abbots, and nuns. And there's different names for them. There's monasteries and there's convents, which almost sound like coven when it comes to the word. And the access to the people printing, which are the scribes. Scribes are the people that are used to take the text or whatever documents, because back in those days, you had papyrus, you had the cuneiform. Cunei mean wedge, because that was an act of taking a reed and some clay, pressing up against it, okay? These institutions took over the libraries to where they had more magical texts. Magical text. Now, excuse me, we're talking about magical, right? They had more, even up in Ashurbanipal library, they had more magical texts, omen texts, spiritual texts that they turned into lethargy. All right? So, if y'all bear with me, because I'm working with some of this new streaming shit. I'm still trying to get used to it. But let me see if I share my screen, because I got hella shit. I got hella shit. And Facebook, I promise you, if you try to delete this, hey, I'm gonna find a way to come back. Let me see. We gonna work with it. I don't give a fuck. We gonna work with it. We gonna work with it. Can I do it? Nope, I can't. Wait. Can't share my screen on this thing? You know what? Fuck it. We just gonna do it how I normally do it. Fuck it. Because I ain't even on OBS right now, and I'm gonna keep this flow going. So, lethargy. What does lethargy mean, right? Liturgy, a form of formulary according to which public religious worship, especially Christian worship, is conducted. What is the synonym, which are words that are similar? It's ritual. It's ritual. And mostly they do this shit up in the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church of the actual rituals of going by, of baptisms, reworking Christ being dead and then resurrected to sacrifice his blood. You know what I'm saying? So the ancient texts up in the monasteries that they got from the medieval ages, they had access to those, and they started copying those. And then when they started copying those, they turned some of those into lethargies, which is like the same ancient Egyptian and other different rites, instructions on how to do it in the books, in the scribes, and the scripts. They converted it for their own being in the same process, step by step. It's just changing whatever vestments or whatever the people, like the pastors and all that stuff like that, whatever tools they were using. Because when motherfuckers talk about symbolism, it's the devil. But you got Orthodox Christians using the icons and iconology and iconolastic to do the tools of the rituals and the worship. That ain't nothing but the same thing the Egyptians and all the other motherfuckers did in rites of passage. Baptism is a ritual. That's using water. But because these rituals that came before, the primitive, first, now is demonic. And so because so y'all say that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Let's go to the scholarship. Let's go to the scholarship. Let's go to the scholarship. Get you the Oxford Illustrated History of Christianity. Get you this book. Get you this book. I'm giving y'all scholarship and information. Get you this book. All right. I got more books. I got also how when the Bible meets history, get this book. This is going to connect the archaeological findings and the timelines of different parts of the Bible. Cause y'all, he's just talking shit. He's just talking shit. He's mentally unstable. Everyday life through the ages. Everyday life through the ages. Ooh, look at Spirit working. It opened up straight to the print press. Spirit working. Straight, look. I ain't making this up. All right. Let's see. All right. So, according to Reader's Digest, Everyday Life Through the Ages, in the West, the advent of printed books was celebrated in the mid-1450s by a Bible published in the German city of Mainz. This great work, with 42 lines per page, was printed by Johann Gutenberg, who designed it to look like one superb handwritten values of this day. The letters were formed in Gothic script, like those of the scribes, but instead of being written with a quill, they were printed from movable type. Okay? Now, Middle Ages. The Middle Ages produced a number of inventors and visionaries, none more remarkable than Leonardo da Vinci, whose schemes included this 8-man armored car. That's talking about 8-man armored car. So we're going to try to bring this up. Let me see where I'm at. Hey, I'm doing this raw and uncut. I'm trying to bring this up. So, It's talking about this right here. It's armored car through the Middle Ages. And then you got right here where they're going to the scriptorium and they're doing the bookkeeping. Right? All right, now watch this. Where's it at? So, printing was not the only new industry in this age of change. Age of change. Now, why is talking about age of change? Because during this time, that is when they took, this was the Holy Wars time. So the Holy Wars was when Emperor Constantine declared Rome the Christian capital, and they were going to use Christianity to bring one rulership. Because Rome was colonizing shit. Rome was bringing laws in the courtship. They ransacked not just other territories, but every book in, whether it be libraries and personal libraries by people that were wealthy and that had this as something sacred. They took them. They take them. They reading them. They give them to the scribes and the monks. And they're like, hey, go edit them. Take this out. Take that out. You got even when kings confiscated these ancient texts. Because I just did a thing on Genesis 1 through 4. I did a thing on Genesis 1 through 4. And literally, it said 1 through 4. I broke down all the ancient different texts. I'll put the link in shit. But they took that. Now, let's go. Because if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Go to the index. Where's that? There you go. All right. In this connection, the history of the text of the Bible had religious consequences. In 1800, the Roman Catholic Church was still saying that the St. Jerome's Latin Vulgate was the authentic version from which religious truth was to be taken. The Germans were using some form of the Luther's Bible. British Protestants were all using the King James Version in 1611. Though most of them used it in editions omitting the Apocrypha. Ooh, look. Omitting the Apocrypha. Within the same covers the Old and New Testaments. So, the children was taught to read it by the family Bibles, the different family Bibles. So, when we're talking about the Apocrypha is talking about the apocalyptic text, talking about aliens, talking about extraterrestrial aliens, different beasts of being, more than just the cherubim, seraphim. Got the Book of Enoch, all of these things. Book of Maccabees, all that. So, the Apocrypha was also talking about how, in different stories, how angels, extraterrestrials, and spiritual, mystical practices of the Bible that they didn't want and they took out. So, my discoveries upon Christianity is the fact that there has been so many following splitting denominations that say we're using this Bible only, but we don't teach that, but that's of the devil, of that Apocrypha Bible. Then you got apologists saying, oh, and apologists mean people that are defending. This is not the real thing. Only the Torah, which is the 5 books of Moses, which is Jewish, going to Judaism, which is one of the oldest forms of religions, that they call it the Book of the Law. You got the Bible split up with the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, then the whole Old Testament being the Tanakh. And there's the thing that I've been seeing in my research, that when you have this text, this one text right here that says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form. You got another one, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is giving a commentary of the mystical aspects. Why the fuck are we debating on fucking Christianity when all these fragments is being used to give some type of validity when all this shit been taken? All right. Let's slow down. So, in my research with Christianity, in the Christian Handbook, in the Bible, it seems to me that something is separate here, because not all of these denominations, which are subsidiaries, I guess, to the main goal, it's like gang banging. The Orthodox church, so far what I know is, the lady told me that they read the Book of Enoch. They talk about they don't talk about it in church like that, because they more focused on the worship aspect. But they was one of the early versions of the church. The church got a whole prehistory. Even before, once after Constantine with Rome and the Council of Nicaea, they had a whole fucking all these different treaties and different rules. They was coming together with the kings and having these scribes conduct what the laws were to give validity. But if you look at a person so far of Islam, it's a fight. Because so far what I know about the Quran is that it was an archangel that gave Muhammad everything. An archangel. But we can give archangels credit. And we can give everything under Christianity credit. But everything that came before, we throwing out. Nigga, it's St. Patrick's Day right now. It's St. Patrick's Day. And so you can honor St. Patrick. You can honor St. Patrick. And you can do Easter, which actually they converted the Ishtar shit and converted that to Easter. All they doing is taking what came before and flipping it and converting to their shit. And then they telling you going to hell. But you taking shit? The 10 Commandments go back to the Code of Hammurabi, when they was giving codes, different stuff for some type of etiquette and moral code and ethic. Then you got going back to 42 laws of Maya. Then all these different things are civilization, organization, systems. The priest and the church go hand in hand. The church and the state and all that shit go hand in hand. They work together. 501c3, nonprofit. All right. So, what did I find out? I found out that the holidays, holy days, they were converted from the pagan shit, from the Near East practices. Let's talk about astrology for a little bit. So, when it comes to astrology, I said this before, I'm going to say it again. You got the Mazaroth. What's the Mazaroth? The Mazaroth goes to Jewish mysticism for the word wanderer and zodiac signs. There are people from the pre-Islamic community that had bloodlines of legacy of doing astrology work. Then, if you want to talk about Moors in Spain, there was astrologers there. The conquest of Spain, look. So, okay. Let's talk about how the book was made. Because I told myself I wasn't gonna come prepared. I was just gonna do this straight spirit. So, how the book was made. You got one, it wasn't a book. It was sounds and vibrations. And you got Shishet the goddess, which is the goddess of writing, that whisper into Thoth Tahuti's ear for the right, but she was before Thoth Tahuti, Hermes Trismegistus. So you got the cuneiform, which is the wedge with the clay. Then you had the papyrus, which grew from the water up in Babylon, Tigris, Euphrates, modern day Iraq. Then you got the codex, which is this form. This form right here is called the codex or the codices. Why is this form this form? It's because at first they had papyrus leaves, and then they tried to put as many of those leaves in between the paper. In between the papyrus. Then they said, okay, we need to make a hardback. So they started getting wood, putting it around it, and then started using binding later on. Then you got the scroll ship in between, which up in Alexandria libraries, Ashurbanipal libraries, the scrolls and the scribes were meant to document. Why are they meant to document? Because so the cities and the civilizations that were growing, they could be able to have a record of the series of events that's going on in the organization. The main thing was organization. Because civilization means city. And even throughout these times up in Babylon, Tigris, Euphrates and shit, is that other communities that were on the side, some of them had some of the same similarities, some of them grew their own. Because where Abraham in the Bible was up in Ur, that's still the Mesopotamia area. But of course, the names is different. See, the Bible, the historical narrative, they changed the names of the historical narrative and sequences of these events that were documented to fit their narrative. They was the ones killing off the pagans and shit, killing off the other different cultures. But you have the Orthodox Christian cross that has the cross in the middle, but the O, the circle. What does it represent? Transitioning from the primitive arts, pagan arts, mystical, all that shit, everything like that, to something new, which is why you got the Christianity. It's a transition. The T on the cross represents, transition, crossroads. Also, it represents death. I'm going to tell you why. Why the fuck would I want to wear somebody that, like, I'm not going to wear a picture of my homeboy or somebody when they on the deathbed or where they last were at, sitting at, and dead out if they died or somebody got crucified or assassinated. But you wearing that emblem up there, symbols tell it. Like the Ankh is flowing, but the cross there is you boxed in. It's a symbol of death. But with the pagans and the Celtics and all that stuff like that, they shit was moving. It was a everlasting, a continual, infinite flow. And also too, what just came to my mind is that the Orthodox Christians, because you can ask questions with the Orthodox Christians, you can't ask questions with these other motherfuckers. The Orthodox Christians, they talk about the writings of Mary. The writings of Mary, Mother Mary. Mary was a Virgo. Was Virgo the virgin, the maiden, the great mother, the nurturing, the fertility. See, the Virgos represent the wheat, which they also called Babylon, Tigris, Euphrates, the land between the waters, but it's also shaped like literally a vagina. It was also called Fertile Crescent. Fertile. You got all that water right. That's why they were known to have a whole bunch of floods up in Babylon anyway, about all that shit going on. So when you're talking about floods, the biggest floods was the major events, but they were used to it because they made irrigation systems. What's irrigation is where you moving water to be able to supply. They had a whole irrigation system. They talk about Mary, right? Talk about Mary. You talk about the other apocryphal texts. Because most of them are the Orthodox Christians, they go and they worship, they have the liturgy classes, they have the different Bible classes, all that stuff like that. Because them Protestants and the Catholics and all them, they separated because they wanted to keep they wanted to be individual and not be under the leadership of the Pope. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the Orthodox Christians is because lately in my research where I've been going, this bookstore I went to, and they got all the shit up in there. Free to ask questions. They was like, no, we part of the early shit. I said, huh? Early? Cause yeah, what? He said, yo, we part of the early shit. We ain't part of that shit going on with the Pope. So there has been this big, even more to my awakening, of how going through this truth-seeking process, going through these next advancements in my process of growth, is that I was right for the way I was thinking. See, truth be told, I've mentioned it many times, I've suffered a lot of different things because of, my big mouth. But when you do your research and recognize that in order for this whole big religion, religios means to bind, of Christianity, which is talking about basically followers of Christ, his teachings, they're not even doing his teachings. They're not even talking about the teachings. They just go off the New Testament and pick whatever is approved for what they're supposed to preach. And boom. I've been labeled strange. I've been labeled crazy. I've been labeled, even, I'm going to keep it a buck. This old friend of mine, not even a friend, old friend, but let's just say somebody I used to be cool with before I left Grand Rapids told me that um don't give up on yourself. You know, you could have been in the asylum. Motherfucker, I cut that shit off quick. I said, in my head, how the fuck are you gonna try to say I need to be in a mental asylum when your ass always coming to me for divination? See, when you get betrayed because you wanted fame, that a lot of times it's telling you not to chase that. Christianity wasn't even fully built until after the Rome rulership. So we're talking about they just sharing these teachings and all this stuff like that. But then, to me, it's appearing that motherfuckers say the Bible and Christianity is separate. So what the fuck is it? What is it? So are you telling me, based off something that you had to kill people for, and converting different, and taking, this is colonization, taking you made the holidays based off the, whether it be pagan rituals and pre-rituals and all this stuff like that, you doing it now. But you just converted to Christianize it. So you're saying that as long as it's Christian, it's approved. You turned ancestors into angels. You said, we're going to give all the high spiritual shit to the pastors as long as they do an oath to not talk about it. In a rabbi that I met here in Wichita told me that the priests have access to other different oils that have, I don't know how many hertz of energy. And they put them, and they use that, and then they go channel. So you're saying, so the church and the state, the church and the government are all in one, because just like up in Egypt, which this was known, is that the priests and the people that are working in the temple were higher rank also in the government. Because truth be told, the government been using spiritual practices the whole time on this whole bullshit, this whole spell. But they making it appear that, okay, this shit is normal. This is gonna be this is normal right here. This is make believe. But you're going to the myths. You got other different things that you saying as tall tales, but you putting them on TV. And then y'all also taking shit just like George Lucas taking the creation story, the different myths and Osirian dramas, and putting that in Star Wars. There's nothing new under the fucking sun. Nothing new under the sun. So you're telling me with the Torah is what, and in Mount Sinai, it's said that God gave Noah the Ten Commandments, but also gave Noah the Torah, one oral and one written. This is supposed to be spiritual. This is supposed to be something crazy. But you saying this Old Testament shit. Y'all saying, oh well, that's only the Old Testament days, but doing the same thing. It's just everybody are not getting directly killed or sacrificed from the sky if they do something wrong right away. This is I don't get it. I don't get it. But you got religions that's arguing like gangbangers of different denominations, and they were started by people. They were started by people. Justin Martyr got killed in the Hellenistic era only because he was preaching Christian apologetics was defending Christianity over the pagan shit. Then you wonder why the different wars between the Assyrians and all that shit was going on, was because y'all try to take their shit. But this came before. The Bible says, Genesis 1, verse 28, replenish the earth. So it was shit already. Replenish the earth. It was shit already here. Here we go. The cathedrals were also embellished with magnificent sculptures. Wells had 400 statues on the west front, and Chartres had more than 2,000, while kings and saints adorned prominent niches. Small-scale carvings in less obvious places often dealt with more down-to-earth or humorous subjects. This is talking about the building of the inside of the church. But, shit right here, where is it at? I'm trying to find. Oh, yep. A chain of command ran downwards through archdeacons and rural deans to rectors and vicars. Below them served the beneficent clergy who sang masses for the dead. So, saying mass for the dead in this cathedral. Let me see it. Let me get it. In this cathedral, y'all see it. Cathedral. Another one. Over there. It's cathedral. It's cathedral. So they said, clergy who sang masses for the dead and the attendants. So you can sing. So this is what I'm saying. These are all the same acts of the Egyptians, of the people that came before. So I don't get it. I literally don't get it. Like, you can't make this up. I'll put this on my YouTube channel. I was just gonna put this on I'll put this on my YouTube channel. So you can honor martyrs and people that died, the dead. And in the Catholic Church, they got altars experience. I went to a revival church probably like a month ago. He said, come to the altar. Come to the altar. Get the praises of God and come to the altar. I ain't going to the altar, but But you got people jumping, dancing, all this energy work. Altar was used for sacrifices. But then if somebody got an altar in their home, or like people would say a shrine prayer closet, that's good. Or if you got an altar in your shit, and you got the loved ones, deceased people, and all that, just to pay homage to them. Not worth pay homage to them. It's demonic. Like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? So it's like, I'm having fun with this shit, because once you do your research, you really see what's going on with it. So let's say, the Pentecostal church, let's get to black folks, melanated folks. The Pentecostal church, Charles C. Mason, or C.H. Mason, whatever it is, right? Mason, mother, son. His mom was a root worker. She had the herbs for curing all this shit, medicinal, down south shit. But they say the Holy Ghost hit C.H. Mason. Then he started the church. So you're telling me, because these are men starting the church. These are men, these are individuals starting these, talking about these practices, and people are doing this following shit. But these practices got the book, all this shit. A man started that. But if I don't go to the Church of God in Christ, if I don't go to the Orthodox Church, if I don't go to church at all, I'm going to hell. But a man made it. And so if I say I got to download, something hit me, I'm channeling. And it's actually accurate by the results. All this, everything Mason's made true. That means I could start a religion. I'll never do that. I never do that. Never. I would never do that. But what I'm just saying is, you can actually register to be a religion, but it has to be under the rulership of the Pope, under the 501c3, and you have to do what we say. And this is 41 minutes, and I'm already cooking. Like, this, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. What I learned too is, you got Christian Science. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Now, even though I'm not a Christian, you know, I don't belong to any religion. I recognize that the Christian Science thing is this, from Mary A.D. Baker. She's has an Aquarius moon, a double Aquarius rising as well. So she rebelled. Given the synopsis of her so far is that, let's just say in short words, she got sick and she was on a deathbed. She read the Bible, read a certain verse, internalized it, healed, then started sharing her practices, made a metaphysical college, and then you got Christian Science, which is her handbook, or the book that she made. This is actually fresh. Breaks down spiritual aspects of the scriptures interpreted, but for them, there's no hell. There's like for them, it's like a placebo effect. It's like they don't believe in no pills. You know, just straight Christian Science manual in the scriptures, and then breaking down the allegorical aspect of each one. There's no such thing as heaven or hell for them. There's no such thing as bad for them, which me personally, I don't even agree with that. But this is what they got. And with the Christian Science, my synopsis so far on the Christian Science is that one is woman based, Mary, woman based. Men can join too, but it's woman founded it. Let me correct myself. Woman founded it. And to me, it's like the placebo effect. It's like, all right, it's this orange. In your mind, you put, which is also magic as well, is that I'm gonna eat this orange. I'm gonna manifest that while I'm eating this orange, that my cold is gonna come out of me. And it's like that. It's like for the scriptures, for instance, with the concordance, which is where you take a subject and it got the scripture and all that stuff like that for where to go to. Oh, I'm sick. I'm hurt. Let's say I feel sad. Let me go to a scripture for sadness. All right. And then you read it, internalize it, meditate on it. Boom. And also, books like that's part of bibliomancy. Trying to find stuff in the book is part of bibliomancy. Bibliomancy is where you use a book for whatever you need, or you get something out of it. But just like how, like, I just did it. It's like I open the book, boom, it's right there for me to talk about. Boom, right there, boom. Like, open the book, it be right there. It's just like up in the church when I used to hear them say, growing up, it's like, man, I just open up the book, I look, scripture be right there. Like, like, yeah, it's part of it's bibliomancy. But I like how they have the libraries open. But it's like, for me personally, I think Christian Science is a lower form mundane of Gnosticism, but they denounce it because they don't want to be labeled as pagan. They don't want to be labeled as anything, title wise physical. But you're talking about God. They talk about God as the mind. And then also Mary Baker Eddy brings in some mystical forms of the teachings of Yeshua, going to the inner science of it, which is it's metaphysical, but I feel like it's metaphysical watered down. And the reason why it's metaphysical watered down, in my opinion, only because she talks about these scientific things, breaking it down, but it's still like Christian based. Like, okay, for instance, like Genesis, the book of beginnings, Bereshith, birth, getting of the Jewish bloodline, Abraham, right? She would say, the cosmos, the universe, and then she'll literally display a myth for context, but then afterwards say, we're not pagan, it's just all, one God. We don't believe in the Trinity. But you're giving off words like cosmos, different stuff like that. It's like, it's more like a philosophy almost mix. It's hard to explain, but it's trying to not be spiritual, metaphysical, but still being attached to Christianity mindset. So that's my opinion on it. So, man, it's been almost an hour in this thing. I've been getting it. So yeah. I don't know. Let me do like this. Because I've been putting in a lot of work, y'all. I've been putting in a lot of work, y'all. I've been loving it. I got a lot of shit. All right. So, here. The destruction of Christianity. I'm going to read this. Destruction of Christianity. We burned their temples, shattered their idols, rewrote their names into monsters and devils. We crowned new gods, calling the old ones forgotten, but they were never gone. Okay? Their rites still linger in our holidays, our stories, our blood. Now, after centuries in the dark, they are stirring not in temples, but in festivals. Online rituals and quiet prayers to the earth and sky. The old gods are rising again. Right? Paganism wasn't defeated in battle, it was dismantled. Midwinter rites honoring the rebirth of the sun became Christmas. Spring celebrations of renewal and fertility were transformed into Easter. The symbols remained: evergreen trees, eggs, hares, but they served a new theology. The gods themselves were redefined. Pan, once a spirit of music in wild places, took on the features of the Christian devil. The horn god, once a symbol of balance in the cycle of life, became a figure of fear. The goddess, honored for her power to give life and heal, was branded with a witch. Hold on, I'm gonna do one more breakdown. So, witch comes from one. You got Wicca, which is wise woman, woman of the herb, natural forest. Which that's a whole nother different look. Which that's a whole nother different thing. But Wixie or Wixa, Wixie is another word for man. Wixa, WICCA, is ICCA in a different language, is female. Craft is a making of something, a building, something, putting together, doing some work. With arts and crafts, y'all talk about witchcraft, but y'all not gonna talk about arts and crafts. Got to download. So, what I noticed in this book of geology, and it's a textbook. I don't got it right now. It's at the shit. And the World History by the History Channel, big ass book itself. Why all the like Day of the Dead for the the Mayans, Mexicans, all that stuff like that, all that stuff. These were labeled as, of course, the mythologies and this shit, but they put as tall tales. But this shit was also labeled as everything being put and hidden into art. Listen, art is the cheat code for all of this shit. Because of course it goes to the simplest everything, but art is the cheat code to all of this shit. Because they put it and hid it up in art and then culture for festivals that they can monetize it. If they can't monetize it, they won't get it. They talk so bad about weed and they talk so bad about shrooms, but of course they gotta put a chemical fentanyl in weed to make sure that ass they can get some money, the government, but also so that they can keep you going to these pharmaceutical places. The fucking benzene or whatever, Tylenol, you putting that shit up in you, the commercials already telling you all the side effects, so you can keep coming. The United States is a Christian corporation. Christian corporation. That's why motherfuckers almost separate church and state. Church come from Xerxes, a place of worship, where Xerxes had a place where motherfuckers was congregating. Also, it come from Kirk. As I said before, this spell that has been put upon us has making niggas think this is nothing but the control of the mind. If it ain't Christian, if it ain't religious, it don't work. That's what they say. But you can take, this is called colonization. You can take shit, but then get mad at motherfuckers like me. That's activist, that's a rebel, and don't give a fuck. Oh, you shouldn't talk about that even though it's true. You shouldn't talk about it. You should just let slavery be that, and everything's new again. Don't forget it. Man, fuck that. Nigga, Big Mama want her shit back. Oh man, listen. This is a thing. Now other people say, okay, why you keep on talking about it? You keep on talking about it and all this shit like that. Well, listen. Don't get mad, because I want my birthright. And you don't want yours. If you don't want yours, That's fine. But don't step in my way of getting mine. Don't step in my way. Because it will not be good for you. It will not. So, my ancestors strong. And when I say my ancestors, I mean my ancestors strong. And half the people that was on that Destiny swapping shit up in Grand Rapids. Okay. Don't play with me. So, I want to end the disclaimer. 55 minutes. 55 minutes, 30 seconds. But this went better than I expected. To all the people that have been ridiculed for this knowledge, even by, I don't even like saying the word family, but let's just say family, kinfolk. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're not crazy. You are not stupid. You are not, well, we on Facebook because I want to take it down, but you are not the R word. You don't need to go to an asylum. One thing for me, as I realized, is how I keep going on is by going and doing the research and finding it. So keep going on, go and listen to my music. You know, because I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. You know, I know that when my grandma taught me the truth and she transitioned, she my head spirit guide, different things. When you on a mission for truth, oh, people are gonna try their best to project all the discouragement. When I opened up this book and I found this shit, it was freeing. When I said, all right, let's open up this handbook, History of Christianity handbook, and I'm seeing all this shit, all this, connecting all the dots, different Bibles and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's a free feeling of knowing that what was inside you that triggered the wanting to know. Nigga, I've been rejected so many times in my fucking life. You think I give a fuck about that now? No. So, do it mad, do it sad, do it happy, do it broke, do it with some money in your pocket, do it with a job. To the people that I'm talking to, I encourage you. And there's nothing wrong with being a nerd. There's nothing wrong with liking what you like. Because truth be told, if something don't apply to you, why are you talking about it? And the reason being is because something inside that was said, you knew deep down inside, that shit hit. Super Shaman.